Hello everyone, welcome back to Path of Spirals Tarot. If you're one of my newer subscribers, if this is the first video you've ever seen of my energy and my presence on the internet, I want to give you a super warm welcome and I hope you'll stick around. I know you'll stick around. If you're here, there's a great message for you today. Now let's light a little incense. There's a lot going on in the frame here today, okay? We are setting intentions to transmute negative energy, blockages, and drainages. Drainages? Whatever's draining you, okay? And there is a lot of, lots of energies vying for our attention, and a lot of that energy is demanding that we stay in hopelessness and fear, nervous system activation. And I want you to know that there's another option. There's always another way. We're going to do some transmutation today in this reading, and you're going to choose between I need to go to my local spiritual store and pick up some more crystals so we have signifiers for picking groups. This is a pick a pile reading today, but you're going to choose a starfish, a seahorse, or this, I'm not entirely sure what this blue fish is. This is one of my children's toys, but you know what? You can divinate with anything. You can divinate with anything. And we're going to use, of course, the Alchemy deck today because we're alchemizing energy. That is something that I know you're a spiritual person. I know that you are super tapped in. I know you're a highly sensitive person, neurodivergent. And we can be, if we aren't already, we all have the capacity to learn how to transmute the energies, the slough. You know, we are really great recyclers when we tune in and we hone that energy. That's one of my gifts. Since I was born, they called me water off a duck's back final boss because things didn't bother me for that long. And like genuinely, it's not like just about intellectual bypassing. I'm just very good. And I think this is something I need to bring into my channel. I'm really good at using my emotional intelligence to transmute stressful, cortisol-driven, survival mode energies. And really, we couldn't have enough of that in this world today. We need more of that. And all of us who are watching, coming onto YouTube to look for messages of inspiration, of hope, of love, of connection, we have to embody that through alchemizing the crap that's already in front of us and bringing in that sort of doulaing in that new world order type of energy. And when we say new world order, what do we mean by that? We mean showing up as the energy that we wish to see reflected in the world. And that's the big test right now, is can you still show up with those higher frequencies despite so much energy, oppressive energy around us, trying to keep us low and sad, hopeless, narcissistic, individualistic. There's a desperate energy that is clinging around all spiritual people, all people across the world, but for spiritual people, we are here to help doula other people that aren't as sensitive into what a new world can look like. So today, we have 3 separate messages. You might want to stick around for all 3. Maybe there are 3 different facets of your life that could benefit from the alchemizing, transmutation energy reading / healing session we're going to do today. If you want to stick around for all 3, feel free. If you would just like to choose one group, group 1 will be our starfish, group 2 will be our seahorse, and group 3 will be our bluefish. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. So stick around. Group 1's coming first. My name's Claire, by the way, if you've never been here before. Been doing readings for a long time. Got some tea today. I have some lemon ginger tea. And I thought, you know, a lot of what tarot is for me a lot of the time is play. You got to keep things light and playful. Let the inner child come to the forefront so that you can have the most accurate prophetic reading possible. Okay? Oh, the energies are feeling good. I got a lotus incense too. We're filling the room with this lotus angel dreams incense I got from the spiritual store last weekend. Setting a really good vibe. Feel free to look at the timestamps in the description to choose your group if you're not going to watch all of them. Or if you are, I think it's really great to have these kind of long form readings on in the background while you do whatever it is you need to do in your house, cleaning up your house, doing laundry, going for a hot girl walk, whatever it is you're doing. Let's get started. We're using the Alchemy deck from Kim Kron's. Okay? Alchemy, the practice of temperance. Think about the temperance card in tarot. It is like, how would you say? Ooh, that incense. Speaking of alchemy, I'm going to use my sarong skirt to clean that up. Alchemy is the art of transmutation of different energies, right? Temperance in the tarot is about mixing different elements to create something more beneficial, something more complete in and of itself. And believe it or not, that's what a lot of the energy is. You know, on the outside, a lot of the energy right now feels very dark, oppressive, but things are also coming to light. And we're all being given a lot of choices about how we digest that information. My channel is about doing that with the highest intention, highest emotional intelligence. So let's see what we can get. We're going to do this like that. Starfish. 1, 2, 3. All right, group 1. Let's figure out what's going on. Hello, my beautiful stars of group 1. Let's go fishing. Okay, that was a little too much fun. If you aren't new to my channel, this is the first video I'm making after I have totally changed my setup in the room that I film. And I got a different table. It's all just feeling a little bit more aligned. I feel like I've upgraded energetically. It's been actually exactly 1 month from when I started my channel. And so we've upgraded the channel's sort of mise-en-scene, at least the whole vibe, the energy here is feeling a little bit more established in and of itself. It's giving 3 of Pentacles. All right, we're doing the Tria Prima reading today. You know, sometimes things come in 3s. Sometimes death comes in 3s. Transformations come in 3s. Live situations come in 3s. We might notice 3 patterns everywhere. And 3 is like the triangle. It's a very the reason why I think things come in 3s is because the triangle is a very stable structure geometrically. So the Tria Prima represents 3 goddesses. The first is the creative qualities of the situation. The second card is the quote-unquote destructive energies of the situation. And then the third card is like the most reigning energy over the situation. I want that to be, we're keeping it somewhat open-ended because I'm going to use my intuition, my psychic side, my healing side to tap into what group 1 needs to hear when it comes to the intention we've set of transmutation, grounding, and regulation with whatever energy needs that, right? So I feel the first card we'll do in our Tria Prima, the 3-card reading. The Unis card, our first card, is going to be this one. Let's see. The second card, let's feel out for her. And always we set a crystalline dome over the reading. I call in highest source energy, my helpful ancestors, sacred timelines, highest timelines for our highest good, so that we can get the most out of this reading. And we also banish any negative energies. They're not allowed through our crystalline dome. My crystalline dome's not from Temu, I'll tell you that. How am I feeling about this already? I'm feeling a lot heaviness behind my eyes, my third eye. I'm feeling a bit in my throat as well. I'm feeling a higher chakra energy that is going to need some transmutation. Okay, that's the reigning energy. And I always got to check to make sure the frame is looking good. Can we see all of our cards? Yeah, pretty good. Let me just shift them this way. It looks a little bit more what you need. All right, our first card. Jupiter, expansion, luck. That's the creative side of the energy that you're going to be transmutating. Okay, so this already tells me, like for example, each individual person watching this reading today is check where Jupiter is in your astrological chart. Mine's in the 4th house. That's where you have the most luck and the fastest expansion. I want you to look at your house. If you go on astroseek.com, look at the house that your Jupiter is in, because that's going to be the key for the transmutation of this energy today. Your Jupiter could be in any house, right? But when it comes to, think about how all facets of life are all deeply and sacredly interconnected. Use this as your starting point. So even pause this video if you can. If you know the time and date that you were born, check where your Jupiter is in your chart, okay? I'll use my chart as an example so that when we are doing this transmutation, you can like apply it to yourself, okay? Mine's in the 4th house, okay? So there's a reminder here that when Jupiter is afoot, there is rapid expansion of any energy that's present. So that can be a good thing, but if the energy is not being transmuted into something that is useful to us, the expansion can be this sort of vicious loop of unintegrated shadow, right? And that can be as like a form of suffering, rumination, mental loops, and things like that, okay? Jupiter is a very powerful energy, okay? the potential dark sides here. And this is going to be very medicinal energy when we look at it the right way. Glass. Okay, so this is going to be one of the 22 materials in the deck. I have the book here as well. I'm just going to quickly scratch my memory here. Seeing through the looking glass. Page 147. Okay, transparency, focus, and seeing. Okay, so glass transmits a sacred exchange between the alchemist and their work. Through the glass vessel, the alchemist sees their work, and the work sees the alchemist. What was once clouded in confusion becomes focused. What was once veiled becomes obvious. How are you currently seeing the world? What is your perspective? The glass card can be thought of as the gift of true perception. Within it, you naturally focus on what is most central in your life, and all else falls into the periphery. The next right action becomes clear. Glass is fragile by nature and requires regular cleaning, so find daily practices that align your vision to what is true. It's easy to slip into an old mode of seeing, particularly someone else's, so hold steady to your new alchemical lenses. Their power is mighty. Ponder the sand that becomes glass. Yeah, isn't that kind of crazy? I always think about that too. Like, how is sand, something that's not see-through, become glass, which is see-through? That's very alchemical. Okay, so there's a portal, an opportunity to see some energy, as we were saying, as we've already set the intention for, so this feels very apt, to see the energy with a new perspective. And also, think about your heart as being something that can be polished. To have a constant transmutational energy going on, it's also an internal cleanup process you have to do daily. Are you doing prayer, meditation? Are you doing things to clear your energetic field, to keep the frequency high? Because if not, you don't get to look through the glass like this. It looks like this, right? Sometimes my clients have asked me, because I'm a life coach as well, right? How can I know the difference between psychicness, intuition, and just anxiety? Oh, sorry about that. One of the county's vehicles going past my house. How can I know the difference? It's hard to know the difference if you haven't integrated your shadow, working on different kinds of shadow work. If you don't have a constant heart purification process, and if you don't have your frequency high. Being on a high frequency, anxiety can't exist there, right? That's something to keep in mind. There is no anxiety when you're on a higher spiritual frequency. It doesn't exist. Also, are you medicated? Half joking. Okay, Jupiter, thinking about in what facet of your life do things come fast, easy, and expansive, and what happens when you mix that with this energy. But also, if we say that there's a darkness, like this is the dark side energy, this is indicating that you have a difficult time currently with that polishing of the mirror, polishing of the glass. Things remain cloudy. And I can guarantee you the majority of social media, the majority of the energy is being pushed in your face by higher algorithmic functions. They are trying to do something on purpose to keep you distracted, to keep you hopeless, to keep you in a lower vibration, when you can choose to step out of that. Wherever it is wherever Jupiter is in your fourth house, go there and use that to hone in on those two energies, okay? The oil of vitriol is the dominating energy in this reading. We have a cat showing all of his teeth. What is that? Like a lion. It looks like a female lion. The oil of vitriol. Let me see here. I think this is also one of the 22 mysteries of the materials, rather. Let me see. Yes, 157, 10 pages after the speculum of glass. So we have a planet and we have two materials. 157. The oil of vitriol represents acidity, resentment, and purification. This is the dominating energy that we're trying to transmute at the end of the day by using these two other energies, okay? So when the green lion appears, a great alchemical reckoning is afoot. Long-standing frustration and imbalance cause this regal creature to lash out unconsciously, consuming all in its path. Be prepared for emotional turmoil as the lion thrashes about. Don't worry, these changes are necessary for growth and in the end will be a relief to all. Purification is the lion's aim, and it's determined to get there one way or another. When this card appears, the question must be asked: am I the green lion or the sun, the one consuming or the one being consumed? It is said that finding oneself in the mouth of the lion is a necessary moment on any spiritual path. As the discomfort passes, the sunbeams shine all the brighter. Ponder, change as the only constant. We can also read these other things here. Vitriol is an incredible acidic and corrosive substance, and so it comes with a few warnings. Don't overconsume. Don't lash out. Breathe and wait. No need to add insult to injury. In alchemical texts, the great creature of change is known as the green lion eating the sun. Okay. The green lion eating the sun, the oil of vitriol, a time of great purification, born out of resentment. I need to grab my divining fishing rod. Might be a Leo rising. I'm a Leo rising, okay? But we can learn that, the female lion does a lot of the heavy lifting in the dynamic of the pride of lions, okay? The male lion's not doing much, okay? Women, this is giving women run the world. They uphold all traditions. They are the star of the show. But sometimes, the masculine, the uninitiated masculine energy likes to overshadow or take the, sort of co-opt the female lion's personality, take the, what is it? When somebody has done something, they take all of the, I'm losing my words. They say that they did the thing that this person did or that this individual did. And they take all the glory, they take all of the, they lie, they say they're the ones responsible for the great change when really they're not, and that creates obvious resentment. Now think about how corrosive certain acidic materials are. So this is sort of a burning away through anger and resentment. Like, I feel that resentment is probably one of the biggest energies that needs to be transmuted, because if resentment is internalized, it is consuming you and it's very corrosive to your heart. That's what keeps the shadow energy of the cloudy glass afoot, right? And then we're not being able to see where things naturally expand for ourselves. So I want you to work in reverse, okay? Now, for me, my Jupiter is in the 4th house, okay? I have a stellium of planets in my 4th house. The 4th house is about your home, your roots. Think about your home base, okay? And in this facet of life, things come easy and they expand very quickly. You can have the most ease when it comes to money, for example, in this house. Just ease. Like a part of your life where you don't really even think about it being much of a challenge in your life. And when I think about that too, me having, for example, I have children. And growing up, I had a lot of luck with my family, in the sense that I had some trauma as a child, but I didn't have so much, in comparison to some people who have a lot. And when I look back at the people that were in my life raising me to become the person that I am, I'm incredibly lucky that every step of the way, from the point of my conception, right? I have a very interesting story of how I was even conceived and brought into the world. And there were people that had to die for me to be born, right? And I'd say maybe a bit unlucky for them, but lucky for me. From start to finish, my 4th house will always be something that is expansive, easy, and lucky, okay? Now, there's 12 houses in your zodiac, 1 through 12, and any single one of those houses could house your Jupiter. So you need to go and check what your Jupiter is in your chart. And then you should be able to stop and reflect on, I don't have a lot of lessons when it comes to some specific facets of that house. Because you usually don't have a lesson. Like, you have several hard life lessons, but not like a ton. Maybe some people do, but most people get like 1 or 2 hard things, 1 or 2 difficult things. But Jupiter is supposed to be there to help you. It's supposed to be this sort of ease. It's the salve. It's the oasis. Okay? So work backwards. Where is your oasis in your chart? Okay? Then set a lot of focus on like maybe even meditating with this easy, expansive energy. And you're going to see yourself shift from this cloudiness to this. I sort of feel that this vitriol, resentful energy has you focusing on where your problems are, right? The things in life that feel difficult. But the transmutational energy that we're bringing in, the healing energy we're bringing in, asks you to shift your focus away from the thing that is consuming you and focus more on what facet of your life does naturally does ease and luck and good fortune come. Because where the thoughts go, the energy flows. And I feel like you're just kind of stuck in this sort of cycle. You know what I mean? And when you focus more on where your ease and abundance flows, it's going to help externalize this resentment and send the energy, sort of back to sender, quote unquote, but in a transmutational way. Now, when I'm sending transmutational energy out, I don't do return to sender energies, like type of spell work. I just don't. I don't wish ill on anybody who wishes ill towards me. And trust me, I'm a highly sensitive neurodivergent person. I don't show my face here, but my looks also get me added evil eye. I never wish for the person that's sending me bad energy. I never wish the same thing. I don't return to sender, quote unquote. I don't wish for them what they wish for me, because I wish better for them, because the world would just be a better place if more people just wished better energy. And it also keeps my heart clean. It polishes my heart to transmute and wish better for the person that is doing the thing that has caused me resentment. So that requires emotional intelligence. It requires inner work. It requires you to be solid in yourself to want that for somebody. It's not the ego's first thing to wish for, but it is very important, and it really sets you apart. It really shows your character. It shows your maturity. It shows your depth. And it shows that it also helps just block out more of this energy, right? Like if you're trying to be in this sort of expansive place, then being constantly resentful, internalized resentment just breeds more of that circus, right? And you do have a choice to break that loop, okay? Now, when we have the starfish here, I do feel called to talk about this. The starfish is known for being beautiful, but it also doesn't live super deep in the depths of what one might call the emotional waters. So I'd also ask you to stop and be honest with yourself about the depths that you are willing to go on a daily basis. Okay, starfish, admittedly, they can't really live super deep in the water. They love like the shallow pools, the tide pools. They live a little bit closer to land. But this is requiring you to allow the starfish energy to go as deep as it can, right? By doing the digging in this house. Okay, so I'm bringing in a little bit of astrology here. Okay? Now, the outcome for me, I like to think here too, is when you find where your expansiveness is, my last piece of advice would be careful about who you share your expansiveness with. Okay, I've shared it on the internet, I guess, but not super specific things. My advice would be where you know your expansiveness is and your luck is, be careful about how you share that energy, how you share that information with other people. It's best to keep the intention that this is energy for you, for your source energy, and for you to transmute your own energy. You stay strong, you stay whole in and of yourself when you keep your business close to your chest. Sometimes that's hard to do. Some of us are naturally open and oversharers. There is a way to share and to connect with people you don't know, but certain energies should be kept privately for the sake of your own spiritual protection. Okay? Thank you, Group 1. Hello, Group 2. I love seahorses. Seahorses and dinosaurs. Let's go fishing. We're the seahorse. Got him. He who is pregnant. He who is the true matriarchal symbol is our patriarchal matriarchal seahorse man who is pregnant. The he horse that is pregnant. Okay, anyways, you know what I'm saying. We've got our male seahorse here, pregnant with plenty of ideas. We're doing the Tria Prima reading, 1 creative card, 1 destructive card or shadow card, and 1 ruling energy card. And we're setting the intention with our reading to transmute energy and heal you while doing this reading. It's not just information, it's an energetic download meant to help you move out of some stagnation. Maybe there's something draining you, something looping around you, just an energy that is not keeping the aura very immaculate. And you know what? We can change that. That's why I'm here on Earth. I help people feel seen and heard so they can have a more immaculate and beautiful life. Unis card, our first card. Okay. Shuffling these hexagons ever so carefully. Potential shadow card. There's two there. I guess this is our ruling card up top, okay? If you can hear the ambient sounds of little children in the background, it's because there are kindergartners going to the local park. And sometimes they play music. Sometimes they live their life full of laughter and glee. I can hear them, but it's probably not that loud on my camera. But anyways, all right, let's start the reading group 2. Seahorse. The sun's splendor is your creative energy, something that's really going to help move this transmutated energy into something new. The sun's splendor, the days are getting longer if you live in the northern hemisphere. And I think this is such a pretty card. It is so beautiful. It's like this diamond rainbow. You have two beautiful birds flying up high overhead. Another rainbow looks like it could be Hawaii in the foreground or some tropical place, or summer camp in the background, and lots of crystalline energy. Like, do you just feel the energy that this is vibrating, that's vibrating through this card? I could just like sit here and just meditate on this card all day because it feels so good. It's like follicular phase, right? It's this sort of pre-ovulatory, high energy, mentally stable, positively thinking energy. It's the feeling you get when you wake up from a really good dream that you just didn't want to wake up from. I've had those dreams, and I like those kind of dreams you never forget because it was so good. So good. That's a really great start for transmuting energy. Okay. And then, ooh, wow. This is supposed to be like a darker energy or something that's kind of holding you back or keeping you in that loop. The breath, or a lack thereof. Okay, maybe somebody's holding their breath. Maybe visualization techniques aren't fully in place with you. Let's see what the book says. Breath is going to be probably one of the 22 materials. Maybe I'm wrong. No, it is. Page 159. Almost there. Okay. Inspiration, presence, and life force. Ponder the first breath. There is no more direct way to practice alchemy than to study pneuma, like pneumonia, pneuma, or breath. We all have access to the mystical phenomenon known as the breath. It occurs at every moment, gracing us with the gift of existence upon the physical plane. If alchemy, as is suggested in this book, is the merging of physical and mystical, then this card serves as our ever-reliant bridge. It is the magical within us, the expanding and generating life force that animates our life. This card may appear simple, but it is not. No matter how advanced you are in studying the breath, if you heed the message of this card, you will find it has more to teach. Bow to it at this very moment, and you will discover the work revitalizes itself. New spaces open. Pneuma, or breath, is your lifelong alchemical ally, starting its love with every inhale and exhale. So this card is already telling me that if this is sort of this dark side for you, you've had a hard time catching your breath. Maybe you've been holding your breath. You just don't feel like you've been getting deep enough breath. And you somehow, some way, somewhere along the line, distance yourself from different techniques with breathing that can really center your nervous system at one end of the spectrum. And if you were to even get into, say, for example, holotropic breathing, which is a way to induce visionary work and transformative inner healing work, this is something perhaps you haven't contemplated before. Now, holotropic breathing there's a couple dimensions to holotrophic breathing. One, it can induce a trance-like state very easily. If you're not somebody who has stopped to do just like regular breath work, it's never really been your cup of tea. If you're ADHD, you have a hard time meditating. Going right to holotrophic breathing can be a way to go around that if you have the internal resources to meet yourself in that liminal edge between, life and death, inhale and exhale, because holotrophic breathing requires you to withhold your breath after you've oxygenated your blood. It can be quite trippy. I've done it before. I've also led my coaching clients through it before as well. But after, you feel super, super revitalized and like you have a new approach to life. And I think that this sort of euphoric vibe that comes from this card can be a result of that. So I feel your transmutational work will come from, at the very least, contemplating your connection to breath, the spiritual, psychological dimensions of breath work, the breath, and at the very least, just stopping to catch your breath. Like, even notice your shoulders right now. Are your shoulders kind of hunched? Does your fascia feel all misaligned? Your crystalline structure in your fascia? When I think about the breath work that I've ever done, when you get really into it and you realize that this is such a simple thing that you can do, your birthright of being alive requires that you breathe. When you breathe with intention, it makes you have a want for nothing. Like, if you can generate that feeling, this euphoric feeling, just from sitting and breathing, why do you have a want for anything else? We haven't even turned over our third card yet. And I think that's maybe something, I don't even know if people are almost afraid of it, that they have this portal that helps them access this sort of detachment from the material world. It can come so quickly. You could have that feeling in the next 20 minutes if you wanted to. Like, you could access it at any point. But people kind of just choose not to, or really I think it's more a result of our society's not teaching people how to do it or the benefits of it, right? Because it's too powerful. And it also removes materialism. It removes attachment to worldly desire. Obviously, that's not getting prioritized in the major zeitgeist of the overt outer world, right? Now let's see what energy is really dominating this lesson for you. Oh, the blue temple. I feel like this is just like scrubbing my third eye. Like, I feel like my third eye and my crown is really loving this reading already. And I hope you're feeling that energy as you're watching. The azure vault and the blue temple. Okay, now that's not going to be a material. That's going to be maybe one of the 22 mysteries in the book. Oh, it feels like cyberpunk realness. The azure vault is one of the 22 mysteries. It's on page 197, guys. One more. Oh, and it comes right after the sun's splendor, doesn't it? Of course it does. The azure vault, celestial realm, the imagination and expansiveness. Welcome to the Blue Temple, the home of the alchemical imagination. You've entered a space of new depths, new possibilities. The inner eye opens and you become willing to see in a new way. To understand this card, one must study blue itself. It is the celestial color of the sky, the ocean, and the peacock's tail. Though potent, blue slips away. Through this color, our imagination threads together experiences both grim and glorious. Think blue films and blue ribbons, the halls of heaven, and the harrows of melancholy. We are taken into the depths of mood, of tone, of the rhythm of the blues. The eternal mystery of blue will only deepen as we study it. And this is precisely the point. Leave the cerebral behind. Cloak yourself in the sapphire robe and sit quietly in the vault of mysteries. Now, a couple things come to mind here. These specific colors, can you think, before I tell you, where do you find these kind of colors naturally occurring in your waking life on Earth? This is going to be when you're submerged at depths in the water, right? Like deeper depths. But then imagine like looking back up towards the light refracting through the water, but then seeing the colors around you, right? People who cave dive, that's optional, by the way. But it brings to mind cave diving, scuba diving, being really deep down. Now, I have had the experience of feeling, and often basically every time I do holotrophic breathing, right? And if you don't know what holotrophic breathing is, it is breathing in such a patterned way to oxygenate your blood before you hold your breath for an extended period of time. And you extend that period of time, the more you build the trust, the more your body knows what's happening, because it can be a little scary. But then there are moments in holotrophic breathing where you inhale and then you exhale and you hold the exhale, right? So when we are holding our breath one way or the other, I feel when I exhale, you imagine yourself sinking deeper, deeper, deeper down. The better you get at doing this kind of breath work, the longer you can stay in the azure vault, the blue temple, right? And get the certain kind of visions there. I think it really helps with your subconscious. The overall message here is that you should get more comfortable with the subconscious depths that your body, mind, and soul are craving to go to, but you don't have like a tool for using that yet. Maybe you're looking to increase your spiritual gifts, but you're a little bit unsure of where to start. Now, all psychic gifts require one thing at the start, and it is your ability to calm your mind. You have to be able to calm and center yourself. There's a lot of ways to do that. This specific reading is recommending you do this type of holotrophic breathing, this type of breath work, in order to get that sensation. And something would tell me you're quite an intense person, so you need a more intense modality. But at the same time, an unintegrated intensity, if it hasn't been integrated, and your subconscious hasn't been explored in this sort of revered way, this velvet azure way, if that hasn't been explored, then it is feared. That which you do not know, you fear. If you do not know yourself and how you connect to your subconscious and these depths, if you don't know that, you will fear it. And then you can't really feel the sun's splendor. I'm feeling as well that those who are watching have had enough of the world's, what the world has to offer hasn't been enough. An itch you just can't scratch. That's the energy we're trying to transmute. Okay? Now, if you're a little unsure of where to start with this specific type of breath work, YouTube's free. You're watching this for free. Do some research. There are different holotropic breathing techniques. It's intense. It is a trip. But from the sounds of it, just a typical sitting with your eyes shut for 10 minutes and breathing normally doesn't seem like it's going to cut it for you. And if the whole point of this reading is to break a loop and transmute stagnant energy in your field, then this is what you're being called for. And something tells me that this is going to be such a beautiful thing for you. Look at all the colors. Like, even just sitting with this reading now, I can tell you're already getting a vibe. It's immaculate, right? You might see a seahorse down there. Seahorses have no problem going into the depths either, right? Group 1's reading was the starfish, and we talked a little bit about how starfish have to live in the tide pools. They're a little bit more, quote-unquote, superficial. They could never fathom holotrophic breathing. Maybe they could. But the seahorse is saying, there you are comfortable. I love it. The sun splendor mixed with this beautiful aquatic energy. Like ASMR bubbles. ASMR sending you good aquatic energy. I'm seeing dolphins. I'm seeing whales. I'm seeing happy sharks. I'm seeing schools of fish. Beautiful regenerated coral reef, Great Barrier Reef in its full health, restored at its full health. That's what you can experience when you're holotrophic breathing. All right, thank you so much, Group 2. What a refreshing reading. Hello, Group 3, and our blue fishy. We're going to do our Tria Prima reading. We'll choose one card. That is a creative, forward momentum moving force of energy for you to transmute. Your golden ticket card. We'll choose a withholding card, a darkness card, an unintegrated shadow card, something that needs to medicinally be looked at in a new way. And then we'll choose a third card that is like a ruling energy over both of those, sort of like the cherry on top. Okay? And this is going to be your creative card, forward moving card. I feel a lot in my stomach already about this one. I'm feeling like a lot of sacral / solar plexus energy already coming in. I feel almost a little bit of a tightening in my chest as well as I'm shuffling these. We just had group 2's reading, was super relaxing. It was all about the breath. It was all about holotrophic breathing. I feel great restriction. Okay. Shadow card. Energy on top of all of it. Let's have a look. I'm very curious. Okay. Ooh, it looks like Daft Punk. The New Pearl. Margarita Preciosa. That's very interesting. It's like the pearl in the void. It makes my stomach sink a little. Like my stomach's kind of lurching to look at it in a way. Like I feel like awe-inspired by it, but it's also a little bit spooky looking. Shadow side. The moon. Something being uncertain. The dark side of the moon. Do you believe that there are aliens on the dark side of the moon? People can't astral project there. I'm not really into astral projecting at all, but if you are, we have two very cosmically unsettling cards. And then the ruling energy over both of these is the sun. Like I said, very hot sacral solar plexus energy is afoot here. And then there's a hand. So we have two cosmological bodies and one, I don't know if that's a material or if it's a mystery. Let's have a look. Let's do a little bit of deep diving here. Interesting. The New Pearl is going to be 177. That is one of the 22 mysteries. The New Pearl, grit, irritation, and waiting. Ponder the pearl turning back to sand. The New Pearl is one of the great promises of alchemy. From a single grain of sand, the pearl forms slowly but surely in the salty mouth of the oyster. The New Pearl emerges as an alchemical miracle, a sight unimaginable at the outset. That said, the process is generated from irritation itself. Such is the medicine of the New Pearl card. The work is underway, but the gem is not yet formed. Don't become petty and hasty, seeking a return on your efforts. Rather, turn to patience, consistency, and humility to remedy the discomfort. Let the magic of time and salt water do its work. Relax, believe, and support a fellow alchemist in finding the grit that will become their pearl. Don't worry about you right now. The entire ocean is your ally. Ponder the pearl turning back to sand. I guess eventually it does. Given enough entropy and time. The pearl is made from only one grain of sand, one irritant. Take a moment to thank this irritant for being so consistently challenging, allowing the pearl to begin its formation. Take note if this card appears with the wise salt card. Okay, well it didn't, so we're just gonna end that there. Okay, so although this first card indicates, like we said, irritation, a constant chafe, it's giving a little bit of like Chiron energy, he who could heal others but not himself. But in the end, the pearl does come to fruition. I think it can also be a nice meditation for you to go look up the process by which pearls become pearls and pearls become so many different kinds of pearls and different colorways and shapes, and they're all worth like varying amounts of money. I find those kind of videos quite meditative. But for a pearl to become one, it's doing so in isolation. It's undergoing a process that is unique just to it. Like, no one pearl is exactly the same. So there is a beauty, but there's also an unsettling sort of feeling of being, in the dark by yourself in this process. It could also indicate sort of a dark night of the soul, being in the void. And I feel that's very much where you've been. Yeah, that's sort of like that feeling you get when like you're in a dream and like you jump and like your stomach starts to lurch and drop. There's that energy that was there before I even pulled all the cards. Now we're pairing that with the sort of shadow side of the moon, which is one of the 11 cosmological forces. And the moon is page 85, which is only the second card. Okay. So the moon is about mystery, receptivity, and intuition. So ponder the center of the moon. Now, guys, you might not know this, but I do shamanic journeying. I did a shamanic journey to the moon last week. I feel I must share it with you. Now, I do shamanic journeying with slower drum beats because fast drum beats push me. They're too intense for me. I'm very sensitive to shamanic journeying, so I don't need a fast drum beat to like induce me into the vision. I can even like drum myself. If I just go like this, like I can be gone. So I was doing a slower drum beat. And what happened in my vision, and this was the night after I actually had a dream about the moon coming to Earth to pick me up. Like the moon was super huge in the sky. The next day I had a shamanic vision about the moon coming to me, and I went to the moon, but I didn't have to travel through space. It's like, like the moon was coming to pick me up. But then the moon went back to outer space. Okay. The moon went back to outer space, and I went inside a cave in the moon. That's actually really crazy. It's talking about pondering the center of the moon. And so I walked in quite fearlessly into the center of the moon, and I went into this cavern, and I sort of became encased, almost like the pearl. I became encased in this bubble. I guess maybe it was a pearl, but it sort of was like my aura, this sort of crystalline aura. And I was just sitting in the center of the moon. I was just sitting there like buffering, and it was very cozy. It was hibernative. Is that a word? I was like hibernating in the moon. It was quite intense, but I didn't feel claustrophobic. I didn't really feel lonely. I felt there was this sort of crystalline, energetic presence with me when I was in this vision. And I didn't leave. I was there. Like when I got the call back and the drum beats to come back to Earth, to wake up and open my eyes, I didn't leave. I might still be there. But I felt compelled to share that with you because maybe that is a vision that resonates with you, okay? Let's see. The moon speaks in the language of symbols, and deciphering its messages takes time and receptivity. Magic is afoot. Sink into it, sweet child. All right, so group 3, I do feel you need a reminder. Like your transmutation comes in a shift, a change of perspective. I do feel like there's been a lot of incubating, a lot of waiting, maybe being stuck, being in the same place for a long period of time, and having this constant sensation that something is supposed to happen. Something is supposed to shift and change. And like you've been sort of waiting and kind of limboing a little bit. But the first reminder is that let that sacred process, it has to just take the time it takes. And you will know only in hindsight, when a lot more time has gone by, why you were in that sacred space of incubation, of like gritting into the pearl, if you will, sitting in the center of the moon. You will only know why you had to be there as long as you did once you have hindsight. Once the illumination factor has come, because the sun is actually this huge, it's the overarching energy of this reading, which juxtaposes our sort of internalized, symbolic, intuitive, unclear energy. Suddenly it's being blasted with the sun. It's being blasted with the sun. Now, I think it would be good for you. I gave advice astrologically to group 1 is to see which house does your sun sign live in, 1 through 12. Okay? Have a look to see where your sun is sitting, because that might give you an idea about in what dimension of your life these energies are going to be born out of. It's illuminating. Astrology never lies. It is the sacred blueprint that you came with before you were born, and it can give you the answers that you can't just will with logic. So I'd recommend, if you don't know off the top of your head, go see where the sun lives in your chart. And then from there, just maybe take a beat, journal about it, see in what ways can where the sun is sitting in your chart illuminate this other energy and transmute it. Because transmutation is coming through illumination and through a perspective shift. It's almost like I needed to tell you about that shamanic journey so you could have the vision. You needed to visualize what's been happening with you. Because if you don't have any symbolic imagery for being in the dark and being in unclear times, you might just feel like you're being swallowed by something and not being able to articulate it. And it might make you feel almost like when you're in a dream and you can't scream. We should have a different perspective on that. So your transmutation and your healing comes through that awareness alone. And then the cherry on top, like we said, is go figure out where's your sun sign in your chart. Then I want you to follow that as a thread. The grit and this sort of spiritual incubation can be illuminated wherever the house of your sun is in your chart. So you just go on astroseek.com, put in your birth information. If you have the time that you were born, that's really important. Maybe not necessary. Like what season were you born in? But it'll still be, the houses can be different. So yeah, you need to know. And then from there, I want you to sit with all that energy and that awareness and let that be illuminated. Okay? And then it's almost like your fish has been in the waters and it's jumping up to the sun to get what it needs, you know? Okay. May this reading have brought you the transmutation and the healing that you need to kind of pull yourself up on out of wherever you've been. Thank you so much, Group 3. All right, everyone. This has been Path of Spirals Tarot. My name is Claire. If you like 5 videos a week, 3 grouped readings Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, then you should subscribe. If there was a message you listened to that you know you have a baddie, an esoteric baddie in your life just needs to hear what I had to say, share the video. Whichever group you picked, I love getting comments, guys. Leave me a comment. Let me know what resonated. And if you are somebody who is like a serial watcher of these kind of videos on YouTube, you can request a type of video. Like, I'm very open to also your feedback, okay? Now, I am going to sign off here. I'm sending you love, light, healing, the positive older sister kick in the bum you might need to send you on your way for the rest of your week. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.